Imagine two people standing at the edge of the exact same starting line. They have the same dream, the same amount of talent, the same opportunities, and on day one, they're equally motivated. Both promise themselves that this time will be different. This time, they'll finally build the business, lose the weight, write the book, learn the skill, fix their life. 6 months later, one of them has quietly transformed their future. The other is standing almost exactly where they began, wondering where all that motivation went. Most people think the difference was willpower. It wasn't. It was something far less obvious and far more uncomfortable. One person treated motivation like a visitor. The other accidentally made it their leader. And here's the dangerous part. If your actions only happen after you feel inspired, then your future is being controlled by one of the most unpredictable emotions your brain can produce. That's why the question isn't how to become more motivated. The real question is why disciplined people stop needing motivation long before everyone else does. History hides one of the clearest answers inside one of the most brutal survival stories ever recorded. In 1914, explorer Ernest Shackleton set out to cross Antarctica with 27 men aboard a ship called Endurance. Before they ever reached land, the ship became trapped in solid ice. Months passed. The pressure crushed the wooden vessel until it finally broke apart and disappeared beneath the frozen sea. Overnight, the expedition lost almost everything. No rescue, no certainty, no map leading home. Yet something remarkable happened over the next 20 months. Shackleton refused to let the group live according to how they felt each morning. Every day, regardless of exhaustion, fear, or hopelessness, he insisted on routines that seemed almost ridiculous under the circumstances. Men shaved, camps were cleaned, equipment was organized, meals happened on schedule. Small responsibilities were maintained even when survival itself looked impossible. To an outsider, it would have looked absurd. Why polish boots when you're stranded in Antarctica? Why organize supplies when tomorrow isn't even guaranteed? But Shackleton understood something modern psychology would only begin explaining decades later. In extreme uncertainty, routines don't simply organize your day. They protect your mind from collapsing into chaos. When the crew was finally rescued nearly 2 years later, every single member was still alive. Historians often describe it as one of the greatest leadership stories ever told. But beneath that story lies another lesson almost nobody notices. The habits that saved those men weren't powered by motivation. They survived because discipline kept functioning long after motivation had frozen to death. Modern neuroscience offers an explanation that feels almost unfair once you understand it. Most people imagine discipline as a personality trait, as though some people are simply born stronger than others. But your brain doesn't actually make decisions that way. Deep inside the prefrontal cortex, every action is quietly evaluated through one simple question: what costs less energy right now? Your brain evolved to conserve effort whenever possible because, for most of human history, wasted energy could mean starvation. That's why scrolling your phone feels easier than opening a difficult book. Why sleeping another 30 minutes feels more attractive than getting up to train. Why tomorrow always seems like a better day to begin. None of this means you're lazy. It means your brain is doing exactly what evolution trained it to do. The mistake most people make is believing motivation can permanently overpower that ancient survival system. It can't. Motivation creates temporary emotion. Biology eventually restores efficiency. And efficiency almost always chooses the easier path unless something stronger quietly takes control. That something stronger isn't intensity, it's identity. Researchers studying long-term behavioral change have repeatedly found that lasting habits rarely survive because people want something badly enough. They survive because the behavior slowly becomes part of how someone sees themselves. Think about the difference between a person who says, "I want to run today," and someone who quietly believes, "I'm the kind of person who doesn't skip training." Those sentences sound almost identical, but psychologically, they're worlds apart. The first depends on today's emotions. The second depends on protecting an identity. Once your actions become connected to who you believe you are, every decision quietly changes. You're no longer negotiating with motivation every morning. You're simply acting in a way that feels consistent with the person you've already decided to become. That's why disciplined people often look calm instead of intense. From the outside, it appears they're constantly forcing themselves. In reality, they've eliminated thousands of tiny negotiations that exhaust everyone else. While most people wake up asking, "Do I feel like doing this today?" Disciplined people solved that question months ago. Their energy isn't spent deciding, it's spent doing. And maybe that's the first illusion we need to abandon. We love stories about sudden transformation because they're exciting. One life-changing seminar, one motivational speech, one perfect Monday morning where everything finally clicks. But the human brain almost never changes through dramatic moments alone. It changes through repetition so ordinary that it barely feels important while it's happening. A single workout won't change your body. One focused afternoon won't build a career. One disciplined morning won't rewrite your future. Yet each repetition quietly sends your brain the same message again and again. This is who we are now. Identity isn't built by grand decisions. It's built by evidence. Every action becomes another vote for the person you're becoming. And that's why discipline eventually becomes more powerful than motivation. Motivation asks whether today's emotion is strong enough to begin. Discipline simply keeps collecting evidence until the question no longer matters. There's another psychological trap almost nobody notices until years have already passed. It's called the planning fallacy. Researchers have found that human beings consistently underestimate how long difficult goals will take, while overestimating how consistently motivated they'll feel along the way. That's why people confidently believe they'll write every evening, train every morning, or build a business after work, without ever asking what happens on the days they don't feel like doing any of it. The plan isn't destroyed by failure. It's destroyed by ordinary Tuesdays, the rainy mornings, the stressful weeks, the arguments, the boredom. Those are the moments that separate motivation from discipline. Motivation performs beautifully under perfect conditions. Discipline was designed for imperfect ones. It doesn't ask whether today feels special. It quietly asks a different question. What's the smallest action that keeps the promise alive? Because disciplined people understand something most people overlook. Missing one day rarely changes your future. Turning one missed day into a new identity does. This is why the strongest people often look strangely ordinary from the outside. We imagine disciplined individuals living dramatic, perfectly optimized lives, but reality is almost disappointing. They don't wake up feeling unstoppable every morning. They get distracted. They procrastinate. They doubt themselves. The difference is that they stopped expecting those feelings to disappear before taking action. Imagine two pilots flying through heavy clouds. One refuses to move until the sky becomes clear. The other trusts the instruments instead of the weather. Only one plane ever reaches its destination. Your emotions are the weather. Your principles are the instruments. The weather changes every hour. The instruments stay consistent. Truly disciplined people learned long ago that emotions make terrible navigators because they're designed to describe the moment, not direct an entire life. If every important decision waits for perfect emotional conditions, your future becomes permanently delayed by temporary feelings. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote something in his private journal that was never meant for publication. Every morning, before carrying the weight of an empire, he reminded himself that he would meet difficult people, unfair criticism, unexpected setbacks, and moments that tested his patience. He didn't write those words because he enjoyed suffering. He wrote them because he understood a timeless psychological truth. The mind performs better when it stops negotiating with reality. Most people wake up hoping the day will cooperate with their plans. Disciplined people quietly prepare for the possibility that it won't, and keep moving anyway. That shift changes everything, because resilience isn't built by avoiding resistance. It's built by expecting resistance to arrive and refusing to let it become an excuse. The strongest routines aren't the ones that survive easy seasons. They're the ones that continue functioning after motivation has already packed its bags and left. And perhaps that's the greatest misunderstanding about discipline. People imagine it's about becoming harder on yourself. In reality, it's about becoming less dependent on yourself. Less dependent on your mood. Less dependent on inspiration. Less dependent on waiting for the perfect moment that never fully arrives. Every system you build, a consistent bedtime, a scheduled workout, an hour of focused work before checking your phone, isn't restricting your freedom. It's protecting it. Because every habit that runs automatically frees your attention for decisions that actually matter. That's why disciplined people often appear calmer than everyone else. Their lives aren't easier. They've simply removed hundreds of unnecessary negotiations that drain everyone around them. While others spend their mornings deciding whether to begin, they've already begun. While others search for motivation, they're quietly creating momentum. And momentum is one of the few forces in life that becomes stronger the longer you protect it. So maybe the real question was never, how do I stay motivated forever? Maybe the better question is, who am I becoming every time I keep a promise to myself, especially when nobody is watching? Because that's where discipline quietly wins. Not in dramatic moments, not in viral speeches, not in the rare days when you feel unstoppable. It wins in the invisible hours that nobody applauds. One workout completed without excitement. One page written despite distraction. One difficult conversation you chose not to avoid. One promise kept simply because you said you would. Those moments rarely look extraordinary while they're happening, but stacked together over months and years, they become something far more valuable than motivation ever could. They become evidence. Evidence that your actions are no longer waiting for permission from your emotions. Evidence that your future is being shaped by your standards instead of your feelings. And that's why discipline always outlasts motivation. Motivation can help you begin, but it was never designed to carry you across an entire lifetime. Discipline can. Because motivation asks, do I feel ready? Discipline quietly answers, ready or not, this is still the person I'm choosing to become. And once that answer becomes part of your identity, something extraordinary happens. Success stops feeling like a distant destination reserved for unusually gifted people. It becomes the natural consequence of ordinary actions repeated long after the excitement has disappeared. In the end, the people who build remarkable lives aren't usually the ones who felt inspired the most. They're the ones who kept showing up after inspiration was gone. And history has always remembered those people, not because they were more motivated than everyone else, but because they became someone motivation was no longer required to move.